Shalom, welcome back to Halacha Time. Today's question, do I have to say a bracha, that's a blessing, if I only want to taste a food? It's a very good question. The assumption is that one says a blessing before eating food. The sages said that it is forbidden for someone to benefit from this world without first reciting a blessing. Two things must be said about this. The first is that obviously this is not a biblical injunction. According to the Torah, one only has to say the blessing after eating bread or his meal with bread. That is the biblical obligation. The sages are ordained that we say blessings even before the food, but they did this because they felt it's not right. Also, I said the word benefit. Really, I should have said that in Hebrew, but this class is supposed to be given in English. There is a word in Hebrew, hana'ah, or hanaya, sometimes with an aleph, sometimes with the yud, that is variously translated as benefit or pleasure. And that is the crux of the argument among the Rishonim as to what about to do in this case. Tasting food lacks a certain measure of hanaya. That is, one eats and gets nutritional benefit. One also eats and gets the satisfaction and the pleasure from eating. So which of those is the hanaya? And it is hard to define this. In Orach Chaim, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, Reish Yud Bet, Reish Yud, Siman Bet, Mark 210, Article 2, he brings first the opinion of the Rif and the Rambam, who say that one does not have to say a blessing on food, even if one swallows it, because apparently the minimum is revi'it. They first say that one doesn't have to say a blessing on tasting the food. He takes a spoon, puts it in the cholent to taste it, and even if he ate it. Why? Because their discussion, the way they understand the Gemara, is that the threshold for having to say a blessing is on a revi'it. A revi'it is a small measure of volume, equivalent to about, it's quite small. It's not even a full cup. A cup of a revi'it is 86 ml or so, and certainly less than that when we're talking about a food or a drink, so one wouldn't have to say a blessing. There is another opinion he brings, and that's of the Tosafis and the Rush, and they understand this dispensation about not having to say a blessing. It's not about the amount, but whether one actually swallowed or not. That is, if one could technically taste a lot of foods, but spit them all out, and then he wouldn't have to say a blessing. Now, this leads to a few nafkaminas. There's an interesting case of someone who tastes many different types of food. He just takes a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. What would be the case? The Ramah and the Mishnah Berurah, well, first the Ramah was the one to say it, so the Mishnah Berurah points this one out. This is considered unresolved. This is a safek. A safek is when sometimes a person is in doubt as to regard of what is the facts on the ground. In this case, this is a safek as to what the halacha is. This is a doubt. Some would consider this not a true safek, but for the Ramah and the Mishnah Berurah after him, they consider this a safek with regards to the actual halacha, and therefore the rule is always with regards to rabbinic matters, including matters of reciting blessings, because it was the rabbis who instituted all these blessings. For these matters, one in doubt takes the lenient approach. That is, one should not say a blessing. And indeed, that is the halacha. For someone who's just tasting food, especially if it's a very small amount, and if he does not intend to swallow it, he certainly would not make a blessing according to all these opinions. But even if he does swallow a little bit, he also does not have to say a blessing because he did not have the requisite amount. Of course, we're talking a little bit backwards in time. He does not say the blessing because he does not intend to eat this amount. If he ends up eating that amount, he realizes, oh, it's good, he'll start eating. If he wants to continue eating and then eat that amount, of course, he should say a blessing thereafter. And if he neglected saying his first blessing, he ended up eating quite a lot, more than this threshold, then he would, of course, say the after blessing, depending on what it is he ate. So, to sum up, do I have to say a blessing if I only want to taste the food? The answer is no. Especially if you just want to lick it, there's not considered mamash in that case. One does not say blessing on the food, regardless of what type of food that is. Thank you for joining us. Please check out our other Halacha Time videos in this series.